I'm gonna be starting the cage in my 2009 Corvette C6. Woo! It's gonna be a good one. I'm on my way to the shop right now. I currently work at a place called After Hours Autosports. Been there 4 years, ever since I moved up Colorado. We're located in Denver. We do a lot of drift builds and stuff. I primarily do a lot of the roll cage and fabrication work. Oh, and by the way, this is my BMW 135i, is my little backup daily. I love this thing. Why is it that all Beamers just come with check engine lights? Yeah, this thing is too much fun to drive. All right, here we are. After Hours Autosports, also known as After Hours Drift Shop. Justin and Josh, they are building his Pro 2 car right now. It is sick. Cool stuff going on here. But here is the Vette. So a little backstory on the car. It was a salvaged base model that I picked up. Let's see, I picked that up in December of 2019. Maybe January, somewhere around then. But yeah, it had front end damage. The front bar was all smushed up, so it was technically frame damage. But went through, welded all the new frame stuff back on, replaced all the front end, did like knockoff ZR1 front fenders, and then the Z06 rear overs to make it cool and wide bodied. It's got Silver's coilovers on it, the basic PBM knuckle kit on it, and then the Power by Max Hydro with the Drift HQ dual calipers on it. Other than that, car doesn't really have much done to it. Just pretty stock LS3. It's got an intake as of now. One of the really cool mods that I did just recently was oil cooler and fan, so I can hot lap this thing, and she did well on the last event, doing a lot of hot lapping. But yeah, I've really liked the car so far. I even sold my my S14 ProAm car with the LS in it because I had so much fun in this, and that thing kind of got thrown in the back burner. So my plan for the cage is pretty much retain as much interior as possible. I want to try to keep as much of the door panels as I can, keep as much as dash, keep, you know, sun visors, all that good stuff. The trick is going to be headroom. I took the targa off, which makes it easy to weld, but the thing that sucks is it's not much higher above my head where the roof sits. All right, guys, got all the interior out for the most part. Dash was a little tricky. There's a few weird bolts there, some on top up there, and then some weird ones under here you gotta get to. So that's most of it right there. Had to pull my handbrake out to get it out, but wasn't too bad. But so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna build boxes off of, this is the frame rail right here. We're gonna build those up, come up here. I'll probably have to trim the air duct a little bit, come up and around. I'm gonna be trying to retain most of this plastic where the main hoop's gonna be, just to keep it as clean as possible. So we'll see how that goes. The rear boxes aren't too bad, just gonna have to trim some of this, but this is the frame. This is also metal, so we're just gonna build a box off of this area. We will have to trim a little bit of the fiberglass out to get to the frame that's under here on both sides. But other than that, step one done. guys. Got all the plates done and everything. These are the fronts. These are for the main hoop, and then that's for the rear frame rails. You can kind of see how they go on here. This one just slides up in there all nice like. Everything tucked and fits well. The fronts literally just sit right up on there. All nice. Kind of figure out where I want it. And then for the rears, those just sit on the frame rail back here like so. All right, we got the main hoop done. It was a little tricky just because, once again, the Vette has such crazy head clearance, or lack thereof head clearance. Let me show you what we're working with here. So you can see there is a little bit of a gap up here, but that's for a reason. I want the target top to still work. So I needed a little bit of clearance for that lever right there. And I could always, if the main hoop isn't set in stone, so if it does end up coming a little closer, I can trim this little lever if I really had to, but it's got room to work. The reason why I wasn't shooting to touch the ceiling in this car is because where I'm gonna be bringing my forward hoop is, I wanted to get as close as I could to right here. I wanted this bend stuffed up into this corner. Next up, we gotta build the forward hoop that goes along the A-pillar. This one's definitely gonna be the trickiest bend out of the bunch. Like I said, head clearance is a big thing in here, so we're gonna try to get as close to that roof line as we can. There's a few ways you can do it. I kind of just make a bunch of measurements and kind of go with my best bet. It's like half measurements, half eyeballing everything, but I usually can get pretty close in that range. So what I usually like to do, I've got this nice little angle tool. So what I want to do is kind of fit things by using other pipes where I want. So if I know I want this to sit right here, I can figure out exactly what angle I want to follow up into this roof line. So it looks about 65 degrees, which works really well because when I was measuring the actual digital angle of this A-pillar, it's about 25. So 25 minus 90, 65. All right, for the next bend, we're gonna just hang this piece of pipe where we're trying to fit it. And then what I want to do is I put a piece of tape right here. I want to mark about where I think the center of the bend should be to start this next one. We're gonna grab this measurement from where we marked our first bend. So where we just marked that one, we're at 32. But now we gotta get the angle at which we are gonna get this one. So not only does this one have a bend angle, but it also has a rotational angle. First, I just want to try to figure out what the bend angle is. So if my bend's right there, so I got the distance from the base plate to the first bend, I got that angle. I got the distance from that first bend to the second bend, and I have that angle. Now, what I have to figure out is the rotational angle of it. A few ways you can do this. I kind of do a few checks on different things and try to see if my numbers kind of start matching up. One way I'll take the digital angle finder, and if that's straight up and down, and then you follow the line of the chassis, kind of in there. So, and it's 90 minus, so that rotational angle would be, let's see, what, 70-ish? Around 70. So it'd be like a 20-degree rotational angle. Few other things I like to check. Since I have this guy, this nice little, my little angle finder, one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it up in here, mark on, let's see, mark on the pipe where it's straight, and then spin this to where I think I want my pipe to shoot, and then mark that, and then use that angle. So I kind of do both of those. It's right about here, and if I kick it the direction I want. So after checking the angle finder to see the angle of the A and B pillar looking forward down the car, it was about 20 degrees. And then after kind of doing some rough measurements on here, I got about 20 degrees as well. Just using this wedged into that, just kind of, you know, pointing it how it needed to go from being straight bent, and then taking that and spin it. Here's my rudimentary schematic, but so my first measurement is 21. So I got 21 marked on the pipe. But now I need to figure out where am I actually starting to bend from, because it's not directly from the center of that, because that's the center of the bend. So our first bend is 65 degrees. So I measure 65 degrees, and then I have this piece of pipe showing the start of the bend, and then I lay that on there straight like that, and then wherever it becomes like parallel is the length. So the length from here to here, and then divide that by 2 would give you your length to the start of the bend. And then I gotta measure my offset on my bender. So then I can put that dot in the smack dab center of the bend. Alright, got the target top cut. That's kind of where I had to cut it to get maximum clearance with the top of the cage. Be careful if you ever cut one of these. This is magnesium, and that shit will catch on fire. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you properly fit a forward hoop in a C6. We got it completely tucked into the target top. So we got all the main cage pieces done. I've pulled the hoop out. I'm actually gonna weld in the harness bar and the diagonal out of the car, just to make it easier for paint. So I'm gonna paint it out of the car, drop it in, and I'll have the spots masked off where the forward hoops are going to go into it. I welded the main hoop, diagonal, and harness bar out of the car. One, it just makes it easier. It's super easy with the Vette. You could just drop it in with the target top off. And I'm painting most of it. So I used a self-etch primer, that stuff. I'm gonna prime everything, and then I have like a gloss black I'm gonna go over everything with. All right, so we got forward hoops We got the main hoop, got them prepped, got a bunch of paint on there as well, but the areas where any weld are all cleaned up. All right, so we got the rear bars tacked. I got this thing wedged in there. You can see it's pressed up against the roof as best as possible so I can still sort of make use of the rear view mirror. Before I start welding on the front though, I want to kind of protect the windshield. If you weld too close to it, spatter kind of hits it. All right, so we got all the boxes welded in. Everything's in place where it needs to be. All right, put the seat back in, put the target back on, just to see how clearance worked and everything. Still got some rear view left, even with this bar right here and that one over there. Everything just seems to fit real well. My head's actually got a good bit of clearance from the pipes. I still gotta put padding and have a helmet on, so I need a good bit of room, but I mean, I got a good chunk. So I trimmed the bottom of the door panel because there's no way to get the door bars to fit in here without that. But if you can see, now we can run all the way under here. All right, we got the door bars all lined up. They're not welded. I still gotta clean them and put some tacks on them, but they're sitting in place. They look a little weird, but when you close the door, they are gone. You can see everything's tucked nice. It's literally flush up against all that. All right, we got both sides, upper and lower door bars on. I'm really pumped on the fitment on these. Still able to get the armrest to sit on top. We got all the door bars all welded in. I just got 2 little supports. That's the minimum of all you need. It's a tricky bitch to weld back there, but we got it. Got all the way around there. The only thing fabrication wise that's left is the plates that are gonna go, they're like the anti-intrusion, but it's not really an anti-intrusion because there's a fucking truck frame right there. So we're just gonna put a plate, kind of gusset style. It's the FD compromise for no intrusions, and everything else is done. Paint in here. All right, I got my foot intrusions marked out right here for both of them. Those are gonna go. They're just, the wide part is gonna weld onto this right here, and then where those 2 bolts are, we're gonna take the bolts out. We're gonna drill holes, 2 holes in that plate. All right, got the cage painted up. I think I'm gonna put a coat of clear coat on some of the areas that get bumped a lot, kind of like there and there, just to thicken it up a good bit. But other than that, everything is painted and we're ready to start assembling back together. All right, today is interior day. So, I'm gonna start putting everything in. I did already get the vents in. You can see the duct tape, but I still have enough air vent. You can see in there where air will make it through there. Same with the other side over there. But so that should work fine. Next, start putting the dash on and all the other goodies. All right guys, here is the finished product. Got her home and all cleaned up. We put some fresh harnesses in, got the seats back in, got my SFI padding all around. Yeah, I'm really pumped how the cage turned out. I still got to put some interior back in. I still got to do some trim stuff over there and over there, but for the rest of it, all of the interior is back in it. Everything fits really well. I got pretty good head clearance on this thing. I'll show you. But yeah, I mean, my seat could go lower, and with the padding and the helmet on, I don't even touch. And like I said, I could still go lower. So that's the big issue with these, is just getting these as tucked as far as you can. But other than that, I mean, everything fits really good. And I really like how it turned out.